Hello everyone, today I wanted to just provide one quick simple tip for saving money. When I grew up with a teenage mother and she had nothing to her name. So I grew up very, very poor initially. And then I also lived with my grandparents at one point and my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother had lived through a depression, so she told me all kinds of stories about how they rationed food, even shoes. And my grandmother grew up very, very poor. My grandmother also told me about growing up poor in the 1930s, and she said they were so poor and had to ration shoes. Like, I guess some kids could get shoes, but some couldn't, depending on how many tickets their parents got. She said that sometimes she did not have shoes on her feet. And one Christmas, she told me that she ran to catch a train because somebody wealthy was coming through on this train in her town where she grew up, and they were throwing fruit off the train. She got an orange and an apple that year for Christmas. I do not consider myself a frugal content maker. However, based on this one tip, I do believe this can help a person either pay down their debt, maybe get out of debt completely, but it shifts your mindset. It shifts your mindset to look at things differently when you go to the grocery store, and I think that's the foundation for starting to live frugally and not overextend yourself with credit cards. So I made a quick little video. I want to play that, and then we'll come back and talk about it. One simple trick for maximizing savings with this one simple mindset. A lot of us have been taught that if you buy a bigger bottle of anything, this happens to be dish soap in my example, if it's bigger, it could be better. It could save you money because it's less per ounce. Every time we go to the grocery store, we see the tags on the shelves that lay out how much you're paying. This, for example, is 90 ounces, and this one is just under 6 ounces. So if you go to the store and you see this one is $1.50 and this one is $10, you may choose to buy the $10 one because you think to yourself, well, it's 90 ounces. I'm going to get a lot more use out of this. And being that it's 90 ounces, it's going to last me a long time. One key difference here, though, this is 10. This is $1.50. My advice, if you're trying to save money and you're trying to get out of debt, stay away from the bigger is better theory. Instead, look for the small or less expensive items until you reach a point where you're out of debt or until you can start saving money. The only winner in this equation is the person making the big dish soap here. If you choose to buy the smallest, you're only spending $1.50. Now you may say, well, that's a lot of money for a tiny little dish soap. But the reality is, how much dish soap do you actually need a week? Do you use even this whole bottle a week? This one here, you might not use for an entire month or longer. The bottom line here is the money that you save on this little product is money that will stretch. The $1.50 that you spend today results in the $8.50 you saved on this going towards something else. Make that mind shift today that bigger is not helpful to your bottom line budget, and you will start seeing that in no time at all, over the course of weeks, you will be able to save that additional money and put the money where it truly needs to go, whether it's to pay a bill, to get out of a credit card debt, to go into your savings account. You'll see that it will truly add up. Now that you've watched the video, there are so many ways you can look at this, and there are other things you can do as well. Like, for example, when I was making the video, I thought about you could also add water to the dish soap. By adding water to the dish soap, you'll lengthen the shelf life of it. Things like that. Same with shampoo, same with body washes. There's a lot of things you can do that with. But the bottom line here is when you are in debt, you want to pay that down. You don't want to keep going further and further into debt, especially now with the way things are. I've heard stories about credit card companies closing accounts on people and so forth. That's a very frightening possibility in the world we live in. So, using those two examples of dish soap, yes, the $10 bottle overall would definitely be cheaper. You may not even have to buy dish soap for 3 months or so, okay? That's not the point, though. The point is having that small bottle of dish soap available for, say, $1.50 at the Dollar Tree, or sometimes I've seen them for 97 cents at Walmart too. I'm just trying to make the point here that by getting that little bottle and only spending that $1, you're not spending the 10. So now you can take the rest of the money that you would have spent and you can set it aside. Just set it aside. There are a lot of people that only shop at places like Dollar Tree, Dollar General, in junk stores where they can get things cheap. Just try it and see if it helps. Because I know myself, I go to a wholesale club and it is amazing to me how much more I spend. I might get 5 products and spend $100, where if I really stepped back and looked at those silly products that I bought, I could get the same products in a smaller version and not spend $15, $20 maybe. So even though they can stretch out longer, the point here is stretch your buck. Put that money in your own pocket, pay off your debt, put it towards your debts. Then when you've paid it off, then start looking at buying in bulk or looking at the wholesale club. And some of you may have very large families, and I get that. I grew up in a very large family. So I totally understand the point of you need to buy the ginormous bag of cereal. You can't go with the small box of cereal. It won't feed all your children. And I totally get that. I'm talking specifically where you can save $1, do it. If it's more economical for you to buy in large quantity because you have a large family to feed, then, of course, buy the large products and not the small amount. But if you want to start saving, it's all about your mindset and retraining your thought process on how to shop with a budget. I used to have to shop with a $50 budget. Now, this is years ago, mind you, way before COVID times. Things weren't as expensive when I did this. I only had $50 a week for groceries. I did go to the Dollar Tree. I would go shop for pasta, rice, beans. I wouldn't buy beans in a can. I'd buy the dry beans and I'd cook them from scratch in my crock pot. I wouldn't buy pre-cooked rice. I would buy dry rice. Back then it was cheap. Things were a lot cheaper then, and you could really stretch your money's worth of things. Now it's way more difficult. So therefore, what I'm telling you is true. I've done it myself and I know it works. Leave a comment below if you've also tried this before and it helped you, or leave a comment below if you'd like more tips like this, and I'll think of other YouTube videos to create. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.